Hello and welcome. Let me ask you something. Do you wake up tired, crave sweets during the day, or feel like your memory and energy just aren't what they used to be after 40? Most people assume it's simply part of getting older. But what if it's not? What if these are actually early warning signs that your blood sugar has been rising for years, long before diabetes is ever diagnosed? In today's video, I'll show you 8 common symptoms that many people ignore, what they may mean, and simple steps that can help you support healthy blood sugar naturally. Some of these signs may surprise you, and recognizing them early could make all the difference.
Let me ask you a simple question. Have you noticed that your energy isn't what it used to be? Maybe you wake up tired even after a full night's sleep. Maybe you feel exhausted by the middle of the afternoon. Or perhaps you find yourself reaching for coffee, cookies, or something sweet just to get through the day. Most people assume these changes are a normal part of getting older. They tell themselves, "I'm over 40 now. Of course I'm not going to feel the same." But what if that's not the real reason? What if your body has been trying to warn you about something for years? Here's something most people don't realize. Blood sugar problems don't begin when a doctor finally says the word diabetes. In many cases, the warning signs appear 5, 7, or even 10 years earlier. The body whispers long before it screams. The challenge is that these signals often look like everyday problems: fatigue, cravings, weight gain, brain fog, poor sleep. Things that people blame on age. But age may not be the real culprit. Imagine driving your car every day with the check engine light on. The vehicle still runs. It still gets you where you need to go, so you ignore it. Weeks pass, months pass, maybe even years. Then one day the problem becomes impossible to ignore. That is exactly how blood sugar issues often develop. The body compensates for a long time, until eventually it can't. Today we're talking about 8 symptoms that may suggest your blood sugar is no longer working for you. And we're starting with one of the most common symptoms of all: constant fatigue. Not the kind of tiredness that follows a busy day. I'm talking about the kind of fatigue that never seems to leave. You sleep, you wake up, you drink coffee, you keep moving, yet somehow you still feel drained. Many people think fatigue automatically means they're not sleeping enough. Sometimes that's true, but not always. Think about this. If you fill your car with fuel, but the fuel can't properly reach the engine, the car won't perform the way it should. The same thing can happen inside the body. Blood sugar may be circulating in the bloodstream, but your cells may not be using it efficiently. As a result, you feel tired even when plenty of energy appears to be available. One patient once told me, "I feel like my battery never charges above 50%. That's exactly how many people describe it. Not completely exhausted, just never fully energized. Here's another clue. Does your energy improve briefly after eating something sweet? Maybe a candy bar, a pastry, a sugary coffee drink? For a short time you feel better, then an hour later you're right back where you started. That pattern can be an important signal, because temporary energy spikes followed by crashes are often linked to unstable blood sugar. The good news is that small changes can make a difference. Even a 10-minute walk after meals helps muscles use glucose more effectively, and sometimes that simple habit can improve energy levels more than an extra cup of coffee. Now let's move to the second symptom: feeling sleepy after meals. This one surprises many people. Imagine finishing lunch and feeling as if someone flipped a switch. Your eyes become heavy, your focus disappears. All you want is a couch and a blanket. If this happens occasionally, it's probably not a big deal. But if it happens almost every day, your body may be telling you something. Think about what happens after a large carbohydrate-heavy meal. White bread, pasta, French fries, desserts, sugary drinks. Blood sugar rises quickly. The body responds by releasing insulin. Then, blood sugar begins to fall. For some people, that rise and fall feels like a roller coaster. And one of the first symptoms is overwhelming sleepiness. I often ask people a simple question: how do you feel 2 hours after lunch? Not immediately after, 2 hours later. Your answer can reveal a lot about how your body handles blood sugar. People with stable blood sugar usually feel relatively steady. People with unstable blood sugar often describe a dramatic energy crash. Here's something interesting. In many cases, adding protein to a meal helps reduce this effect. Eggs, fish, Greek yogurt, chicken, turkey, beans. Protein slows digestion and helps create a steadier flow of energy. Instead of a sharp spike followed by a crash, the body experiences a smoother ride. Now let's talk about symptom number 3, sugar cravings. This is where many people become frustrated. They blame themselves. They say, "I just have no willpower." But cravings are often much more complicated than that. Imagine a campfire. If you throw a large amount of paper onto the fire, it burns quickly. The flames shoot up, then they disappear. Now imagine placing a thick log on the fire. The burn is slower, steadier, longer lasting. Sugar acts like the paper. Protein and fiber act more like the log. When blood sugar rises quickly and then drops, the brain starts searching for the fastest source of fuel. And what does it usually want? Sugar. That's why cravings often feel strongest in the afternoon or late at night. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage you. It's trying to solve what it perceives as an energy shortage. Unfortunately, eating more sugar often creates another spike, then another crash, then another craving, and the cycle continues. One woman told me she felt perfectly fine all morning. Then every afternoon around 3 o'clock, she became obsessed with sweets. Chocolate, cookies, ice cream, anything sugary. When she began eating a higher protein breakfast and stopped skipping meals, those cravings decreased dramatically within a few weeks. The important lesson is this: cravings are not always a character flaw. Sometimes they are a biological signal. Your body may be asking for more stable fuel. And that brings us to an important point. None of these symptoms automatically mean you have diabetes, but they may indicate that your body is struggling to keep blood sugar balanced. And the earlier you recognize these warning signs, the easier it becomes to make meaningful changes. In the next part, we'll talk about 3 more symptoms that many people ignore for years: excessive thirst, frequent urination, and the stubborn belly fat that seems impossible to lose no matter how hard you try. Those signs may be telling you far more about your health than you realize. Let's continue. The 4th symptom is excessive thirst. At first, this symptom seems almost too simple to matter. After all, everyone gets thirsty. Maybe it's a hot day. Maybe you've been exercising. Maybe you simply haven't had enough water. But here's what makes this symptom different. People often tell me, no matter how much water I drink, I still feel thirsty. They carry a water bottle everywhere. They refill their glass constantly, yet the feeling never completely goes away. Why does this happen? Think of your bloodstream like a river. When blood sugar levels become too high, the body tries to dilute that excess sugar. One way it does this is by pulling more water into the bloodstream and eventually removing some of that excess glucose through urine. The result? You feel thirsty more often. Your body is essentially asking for additional water to help manage the situation. One of the most common mistakes people make is assuming thirst always means dehydration. Sometimes it does, but persistent thirst that seems unusual for you deserves attention, especially if it appears alongside other symptoms we're discussing today. Now here's something interesting. Many people don't notice the thirst itself first. Instead, they notice what comes next. And that's symptom number 5, frequent urination. Maybe you've noticed that you're getting up once during the night, then twice, then 3 times. Or perhaps you're making more trips to the bathroom throughout the day than you used to. Again, there are many possible reasons for this, but elevated blood sugar is one of them. Imagine your body as a house with an overflow drain. When something builds up beyond a certain level, the overflow system activates to remove the excess. That's essentially what the kidneys are trying to do. When blood sugar becomes too high, the kidneys work harder to remove some of that excess glucose, And because water follows glucose, you end up urinating more frequently. This creates another problem. The more fluid you lose, the thirstier you become. And the thirstier you become, the more you drink. Many people get trapped in this cycle without realizing what may be causing it. Here's a simple question. Have your bathroom habits changed significantly over the last few years? If the answer is yes, it's worth discussing with your healthcare provider.
Sometimes the explanation is completely unrelated to blood sugar, but sometimes it's one of the earliest clues that something metabolic is changing. Now let's move to a symptom that frustrates millions of people: stubborn belly fat. This is symptom number 6, and it's one of the reasons many people start searching for answers in the first place. They look in the mirror and think, my weight hasn't changed that much, so why is my stomach getting bigger? Sound familiar? Many people are surprised to learn that where the body stores fat matters just as much as how much fat is stored. Fat around the waist is not simply a cosmetic issue. It often reflects deeper metabolic changes happening beneath the surface. Think about your body as a storage system. When blood sugar and insulin levels remain elevated over long periods, the body receives signals to store more energy. Unfortunately, one of the preferred storage locations is around the abdomen. This is why some people feel like they're gaining weight specifically around their midsection, even though their eating habits haven't changed dramatically. And here's what makes it frustrating. Many people respond by eating less, skipping meals, or following extremely restrictive diets. At first, they may lose a few pounds, but because the underlying blood sugar instability remains, the weight often returns. Sometimes it returns faster than before. The goal isn't simply eating less. The goal is helping the body manage energy more effectively. Let me give you an example. Imagine 2 people eating the same number of calories. Person number 1 starts the day with soda and a pastry. Person number 2 starts the day with eggs, Greek yogurt, and fruit. By lunchtime, their energy levels may be completely different. Their cravings may be completely different, and their blood sugar responses may be completely different. Food isn't just about calories. It's also about how the body responds to those calories. That's an important distinction. Another common complaint I hear sounds like this: I lose weight everywhere except my stomach. Arms get smaller, face gets thinner, but the belly seems determined to stay. This often happens because abdominal fat is closely connected to insulin resistance and blood sugar regulation. The encouraging news is that improvements can happen surprisingly quickly. Many people notice reductions in bloating, waist size, and cravings within weeks of improving their eating habits and increasing daily movement. Not because they found a miracle solution, but because they addressed the root problem. Here's another question. When was the last time you measured your waist circumference? Most people know their weight. Very few know their waist measurement. Yet waist circumference is often one of the most useful indicators of metabolic health. Sometimes the scale barely changes while waist size improves significantly. And that's a very positive sign. The important thing to remember is this: excessive thirst, frequent urination, and increasing belly fat may appear unrelated, but in many cases, they are connected by the same underlying issue. The body is struggling to keep blood sugar balanced, and when that happens, multiple systems begin sending warning signals at the same time. The challenge is that most people look at each symptom separately. They treat the thirst as one problem, the weight gain as another, the fatigue as something completely different. But often, those symptoms are pieces of the same puzzle, and once you start seeing the whole picture, things begin to make sense. In the next part, we're going to discuss 2 symptoms that many people never connect to blood sugar at all: brain fog and slow wound healing. We'll also talk about what happens if these warning signs are ignored, and most importantly, the practical steps you can take starting today to improve your blood sugar naturally.
Now let's talk about two symptoms that many people never associate with blood sugar problems. The seventh symptom is brain fog. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there? Have you opened your phone and completely forgotten what you wanted to do? Have you struggled to remember someone's name even though you've known that person for years? If so, you're not alone. Many adults over 40 experience these moments and immediately assume it's simply part of aging. But the story may be more complicated than that. Your brain represents only a small percentage of your body weight, yet it consumes a tremendous amount of energy every single day. Think of your brain as the control center of your entire body. Every thought, every memory, every decision, every conversation, everything depends on a steady supply of fuel. Now imagine what happens when that fuel supply becomes unstable. Blood sugar rises sharply, then it drops, then it rises again, then it falls again. Your brain feels those changes, and often the result is what many people call brain fog. You may feel mentally slower, less focused, less motivated. Simple tasks may seem harder than they used to be. Some people describe it as feeling like a cloud has settled over their thoughts. Others say they don't feel as sharp as they once did. What's important to understand is that brain fog doesn't always happen overnight. It often develops gradually, month after month, year after year, until one day you realize that your concentration isn't what it used to be. Here's an interesting observation. Many people notice that their mental clarity improves dramatically when they begin stabilizing their blood sugar. Not because they discovered a secret supplement, not because they found a miracle cure, but because the brain finally starts receiving a more consistent supply of energy. The eighth symptom is slow wound healing. This is another sign that many people overlook. Maybe you get a small cut while cooking. Maybe your shoes cause a blister. Maybe you scrape your hand while working in the yard. Years ago, these minor injuries healed quickly. Now they seem to linger. Days become weeks. Healing takes longer than expected. Why? Because healthy circulation plays a critical role in tissue repair. When blood sugar remains elevated for long periods, blood vessels can become less efficient at delivering oxygen and nutrients where they're needed most. Imagine trying to repair a damaged house while construction supplies arrive late every day. The work eventually gets done, but much more slowly. That's similar to what can happen inside the body. Again, slow healing doesn't automatically mean you have a blood sugar problem. But when it appears together with fatigue, cravings, excessive thirst, weight gain around the waist, and brain fog, it becomes a much more important clue. Now let's talk about what happens if these warning signs are ignored. This is where many people become nervous. But I want to be very clear. Fear is not helpful. Awareness is. The purpose of recognizing these symptoms isn't to scare yourself. It's to give yourself an opportunity to act early. The body is incredibly resilient. In many cases, it spends years trying to protect you. The problem is that if blood sugar remains poorly controlled for a long time, the effects can gradually spread throughout the body. Energy levels decline, weight becomes harder to manage, mental performance suffers, and over time, the risk of more serious health problems increases. That's why early action matters, not because something terrible is about to happen tomorrow, but because small problems are easier to solve than large ones. Think about a tiny crack in a windshield. Fixing it early is simple. Waiting until it spreads across the entire glass is much more difficult. Your health works the same way. The earlier you respond, the easier the journey becomes. So what can you do starting today? First, prioritize protein at breakfast. This single habit helps many people reduce cravings and improve energy throughout the day. Second, move your body after meals. You don't need an intense workout. Even a 10 or 15-minute walk can help. Third, reduce sugary beverages. Many people focus on desserts while completely overlooking sweetened coffee drinks, sodas, sports drinks, and sweet tea. Liquid sugar often affects blood sugar faster than people realize. Fourth, improve your sleep. Poor sleep and unstable blood sugar often reinforce one another. Better sleep helps support better blood sugar control, and better blood sugar control often improves sleep quality. Fifth, pay attention to your waistline, not just a number on the scale. Your metabolic health is about much more than body weight alone. And finally, know your numbers. Talk with your healthcare provider about checking fasting glucose and HbA1c if appropriate. These simple tests can provide valuable information about what's happening beneath the surface. Before we finish, let's review the 8 warning signs we've discussed today. Constant fatigue, sleepiness after meals, sugar cravings, excessive thirst, frequent urination, increasing belly fat, brain fog, and slow wound healing. None of these symptoms alone prove that your blood sugar is out of control, but when several appear together, they deserve attention. Remember this, your body is always communicating with you. The question is whether you're listening. The goal isn't perfection. The goal isn't following some extreme diet. And the goal certainly isn't becoming afraid of food. The goal is understanding the signals your body is sending and responding before small issues become larger
connecting
ones.
with family,
because the truth is that many people spend years accepting symptoms that they don't actually have to live with. They accept low energy, they accept cravings, they accept poor focus, they accept feeling older than they really are, when in reality, those symptoms may be warning signs that can often be improved. Your body has an incredible ability to recover when given the right support. Small daily choices matter. A better breakfast matters. A short walk matters. A good night's sleep matters. These habits may seem simple, but over time, they can create remarkable changes.
Daily
if you found this video helpful, save it so you can come back to it later. And share it with a friend or family member over 40 who may be experiencing some of these symptoms right now.
I see.
You never know whose life could change simply because they recognize the warning signs early enough to do something about them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.